What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. Tyson Fury states that he admitted he feared brain damage after the Deontay Wilder fight. After the fight was over, he said, I was thinking I could end up with brain damage. I was concussed and I didn't remember anything. I suppose when you get knocked down like that, you don't remember a lot. I was thinking, how many times did I actually go down anyway? Let me counterpunch. Tyson Fury said he was concussed. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that he was concussed until now. I know I did a video on this where he mentioned the lumps and stuff on his back, but this is a different issue. He said he was concussed, and because he was concussed, that's what made him think retirement, and he said he didn't remember anything. Well, I don't really know what time frame is he talking about, because immediately after the fight, as you guys can remember, Tyson Fury came over to talk to Deontay. I know, your adrenaline was up and that might have affected how he felt. So I understand it could be a difference between being in the ring and then being in the dressing room, because when you're in the dressing room, you're not as hyped. When you leave the ring, you're starting to calm down to a certain, you're excited still, but your adrenaline is not spiking the way it would be when you're doing physical activity, as being on the battlefield, you know what I mean, in the ring. So, but immediately after that, though, he talked to Shelly. He tried to talk to Deontay. Deontay Wilder told him, no love, no love, get the fuck away from me, because he was still feeling the efficacy of the punchacy bars. So I think that happened. Then he talked to Shelly Finkel, and he was talking crisp. I never been a cheating fighter. I never cheated a day in my life. I never did this. I never did that. You know what I mean? And I give everybody the credit and all this stuff he was saying to Shelly Finkel. And Shelly Finkel was sitting there, yeah. Right. So what ended up happening with that? So then he goes to the dressing room. He said he couldn't remember anything. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I have no real recollection of how he backed that up, because we've seen him in the dressing room. Yeah, I remember him being in the dressing room. And in fact, that's when he was with Lennox Lewis, and he was talking fine, and he was recalling everything and recalling certain things. Now certain things that maybe he didn't remember, but, there were definitely times where you seen him coherent. You seen him respond the right way. You didn't see him, you didn't see Tyson Fury like that. So, I mean, there's no evidence saying that, hey, I was concussed. Not saying he wasn't. But what I'm saying is, hey, I couldn't remember anything. Well, you can't say you don't remember anything when you were talking about every fucking thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to really like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't remember anything. But you were still excited. You were still responding. You were talking to your people. He was talking to his wife. He was talking, he was talking to a lot of people. Him and, Javen Sugar Hill was together, and they were, they were good. He wasn't talking. You didn't see him, gesturing. You didn't see him complaining, any of that stuff, but maybe he was just good at, hiding it. Maybe he was good at that fact. Like, hey, you know what? Something's wrong with me. So he probably said that. So a lot of people do that, though, but, it's crazy to know what happens to certain fighters without your recollection, but for him fearing brain damage after the Deontay Wilder fight, you see all these other fights that he's talking about. It's kind of like, okay, well, if we look back, it's hard to really, it's like, hey, I want to fight this guy. I want to fight Joshua. If Joshua steps aside, I'll fight Usyk. But then you knew after that, you know what I mean? So, it's kind of like, I guess it's fair to say he looked at Dillian White as the easier fight. That Dillian White fight, if he knew, like, hey, I may retire after that. He was saying that, though. He was saying that before he fought Dillian White. He was saying that, hey, after that fight, I may retire. But it's like, okay, well, wait, do you really want to fight Usyk? Do you really want to get in, a fight with that guy? Do you really want that fight? Because you're talking about retiring after you fight Dillian White, but you know Dillian White, the only reason you're fighting him because he was the true mandatory. So, like, you know what I mean? So I can understand people that doubt Tyson Fury were really wanting to fight Usyk if he had this previous experience with Wilder, had a concussion, had these lumps and shit on his back and spine, and couldn't remember anything. And then, the thought was, I fear brain damage. So if you fear brain damage, my advice to Tyson, if you felt that then, that was probably a warning sign. Like, yo, you need to quit. Don't fight White. Don't talk about fighting Usyk or Joshua or any of this step aside shit. Don't have everybody hyped. Just get the fuck out of boxing, because if that's what really went down, he shouldn't be around. Bars. But anyway, that's my counterpunch on Tyson Fury revealing that he had a concussion after he fought Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch.